What's going on, Squirrel Squad? How you doing? It's your pal, the Squirrel, and this is one of my favorite YouTube channels. This is Lost in the Pond. This is guessing what these U.S. East Coast words mean. Now I live on the East Coast of the United States. Let's see, I'm in this area over here, if you can see my thing. Anyway, over here in Massachusetts, this little tiny, right there. Anyhow, I'm interested to see what these words are, see if I know what they mean, and see if he knows what they mean. But first time reacting to one of his videos, and I thought that it would be kind of cool to do because I am on the East Coast, so I want to see if I, living here my whole life, even know what all these words are. Let's give this a whirl. If it's your first time here, hit the subscription button, and I'll have a comment to the Lost in the Pond YouTube channel in the description below. I'm sure most of you guys already subscribed, but if you're not, definitely check it out. All right, let's give this a whirl. Let's see what we got.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to words. Recently on this channel, I resurrected an old idea I had for a video series way back at the start of my channel, and that idea involved me guessing the meaning behind certain words and phrases from different regions of the United States. And after really enjoying the video in which I did that very thing for the southern United States, I thought today would be a good time to turn my attention to the East Coast. And so just like last time, my team came up with a list of 15 words that can be found in various regions of the East Coast. And today I, a decidedly British person living in America's Midwest, I'm going to utilize my formidable guessing powers to have a stab at working out the definition of said words. So the first one up is Boge, or Bogue, or I don't know how you say this. I've never heard of it, which is weird because with a lot of these words I will have seen them while doing research for this channel. Boge or Bogue or Bogey is not one of those. I have no idea.
I'm guessing it's a Louisiana term. I don't know why, but to me it seems like it has a French influence. I don't know this word.
What it could possibly mean. Maybe it's a type of clothing of some kind. You know, the East Coast, just like here, does get a lot of snow.
I'm going to take a shot at it. Like he's going to take a shot, so I'm going to take a shot. A bogey is one over par, but it means you're a little bit worse. So maybe this is a subpar person. They refer to him as a bogue. That's my guess.
I'm thinking in terms of winter, you put on your bogue to stay warm from the snow. I mean, it at least rhymes, so there is some, rationale for this. I think it's a piece of clothing. Let's take a look. Just as before, these words have come from a listicle website, so they do have the definitions. A Boge or Bogue it's a cigarette. It just means a cigarette. An example: can you spare a Boge for me? And do let me know in the comments below if I am saying it right. Bob.
I've never heard that. I'm not sure where that comes from, but that could be very regional into like one state in one area. There's words in Boston, Massachusetts that they use, and that could be one of them that I've never even heard, and I live in Massachusetts because that's a whole different dialect just in the city. Bub, it's like buddy, friend, or just like hey you. Hey, what's up, bub? Yeah, bub. Bub is just a person, just a way to address somebody that you don't know. Like, hey, Mac. Pretty sure that's what bub is. It's like a main thing, I think.
Don't know. Rhymes with pub. My brain always goes there. It wants to find a rhyme or reason as to why these words exist. And for some reason I went straight to pub, as if this is some sort of alternative name for that. But it doesn't usually work out that way. That's something I am finding. So Bob could be, I don't know, Bob. All right, Bob. Maybe it's another name for Bob. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's how East Coasters pronounce it. So that's what I'm going with. Now then, Bob. It doesn't really seem to fit in with what I know about how East Coasters pronounce words. Apparently, Bob is more main slang. It's basically the main equivalent of dude. Yes. You can use it as a kind of friendly term to refer to just about any guy. How's it going, Bob? Bubbler. Yeah. I'm very...
It's a water fountain. That's all we call it here in Massachusetts. Nobody calls it a water fountain or a drinking fountain. It is a bubbler. It's a bubbler, actually. B-U-B-L-A, bubbler. That's how we say it. And I'm just going to go to the bubbler and get a drink. It's literally how we pronounce it. It's literally what it is. It's a water fountain or a drinking fountain. And it's a bubbler.
Familiar with this word because bubbler is in fact used just north of me in Wisconsin, or parts of Wisconsin, to mean drinking fountain.
Yes.
And I think the reason that I found that out to begin with was taking
So
one of
proud
those
of myself.
US dialect quizzes. And in that, I remember in the East Coast where bubbler was used in the exact same sense. And I think it does in fact mean water fountain. Let's take a look. A bubbler is what you might call a water fountain in New England states. However, this is also a slang word for water fountain in Wisconsin. I know my stuff if
Weird,
the
I
right
didn't know
word
Wisconsin.
happens to come up, and I've read about it before. Creamy, which I noticed isn't spelled the same way that something that is laden with cream would be.
I'm guessing that's a Krispy Kreme donut that's like stuffed with cream, only because it's spelled more like no. I think Krispy Kreme is CREEM and not CREAM. I think. So I'm going. Oh, no, it's a K. It's K. Krispy Kreme. Never mind. Forget it. That's blowing right out.
Be spelled. So I'm assuming it doesn't mean that, and that would also just be the obvious choice. Creamy, it still suggests that, you know, it's describing something. I'm just picturing somebody in New York or Boston or somebody with a thick accent out east saying it and trying to picture just how it could be used and what the mood would be behind it. Something is, it's creamy. Do you want a creamy coffee? That would still put me in the realm of creaminess. So I don't think it's to do with that. Again, if all else fails, I just default to clothes. So it's a thing, it's a noun, it's a creamy, you wear it, it's a type of hat. You wear a creamy on your head. Ooh, that sounds dirty. Let me take...
All right, my final guess on this. I think it's creme. I think it's creme, but I could be wrong. But I don't know. So he's always going with noun, thinking it's a piece of clothing. I think I'm going with describing people again. I think it's like the cream of the crop, the top. I think it's a slang term referring to someone who's a cut above. It's creamy.
Take a look. Let's just see what comes up. It is a noun. This is a slang term from Vermont, specifically, apparently, that just means soft serve ice cream. So really, I mean, it was within that realm, I suppose, of creaminess. So an example, let's get some creamies after the movie. Grind.
It's weird they spell it CREEMEE. Not CREA. Anyways, a grinder is a submarine. It's a sandwich. It's a big sandwich. It's a foot long. It's a sub. It's a grinder. Massachusetts term, and probably other states as well. Very popular here in Massachusetts. A grinder. The story behind this is that out in Boston Harbor, they had the guys who were grinders. They had the big grinding wheels, and they ground off the bolt heads on the boats when they were building boats. And the grinders would be all dirty and gross from grinding all day, and they would walk down to the local sandwich shops to buy lunch at lunchtime. And so they started naming the big ones like the grinder of the day because of these guys. That's the legend behind it, but that's what a grinder is.
Is that not just another word for blender or something of that ilk? It can't be, because they never are, these words.
So.
Grinder could just mean, someone who's a grafter. You know, it's another word for grafter, somebody who works really hard, you know, like me on these I mean, you do most of the work, but me, I'm a grinder because I just put in so many hours of work doing this channel. Buddy. That's got to be it. Let's have a look at the actual meaning here. Grinder is Boston slang. It's a word that is often used to describe a sub sandwich. It's like America cannot make its mind up on what to call that. Case in point, hoagie is another word that Americans use for a sub sandwich, but specifically in Pennsylvania. And
hoagie, typically sub sandwich as well. Certain parts of the country, hoagie refers to round sandwiches. Just round sandwiches are hoagies. Actually, hoagie rolls are actually the ones that are round, so it makes sense that that's what they call them. But Lawrence is right. A hoagie in certain parts of the East Coast is also a grinder, a sub.
I only know this because I visited Pennsylvania last year. Did I mention that? Yeah, I did. If you've not seen the video, you should check it out. So let's just confirm. Noun, this means the same thing as grinder. This slang is more specific to Pennsylvania. Jawn. If this isn't a portmanteau, I don't know what it is. It has to be. It sounds like it's taking the word yawn and then merging it with a J word of some kind. Is it, and this would be very niche, is it when you jump and yawn at the same time? Has anyone ever done that? Is that even possible? I know there are certain things that it's impossible to do, like sneeze and yawn at the same time. Jawn, that can't be the definition. That sounds stupid. Or is it one of those things where two words have been abbreviated? There's usually, though, an apostrophe to indicate that. Does it mean something like, do you want to? Do you wanna? Jawn? That is a stretch, isn't it? Let's look it up.
He might be right on this. John to go to the store. John to go get something to eat. He could be right on that. I'll give him that. My line of thinking, to not steal your idea because I didn't have that idea and it's a great idea. I think that it's a gentleman's way of pawning something to someone without giving it to them. I'll give you my reasoning. So I need some money. I'll give you this marker, and on my word, you give me $10. If I don't come through with the $10, knowing this isn't worth $10, then you get to punch me in the jaw. You can jaw jack me for screwing you out of $10 for a crappy marker. It's a jaw jack and pawn job. The Jawn is the payoff. You get jacked in the jaw for not coming through on the pawn. It's stupid. I know. It's all I got. Sorry. Go ahead, Lawrence.
A noun, this is a very generalized slang word used in Philly to describe any object, person or place. It's kind of like saying thing when you can't remember what something is called. So again, it's kind of like thingamajig. Nasty.
Nasty.
Which is a universal word in the English language. So I'm guessing it's not the normal meaning of nasty. It probably means the opposite, in fact, because that often happens.
It means like, man, that's nasty. Like, damn, that's awesome. That's amazing, I think.
So nasty could mean, oh, it's really nice. Because I think the word nice used to mean nasty, didn't it? Or at least it had a negative connotation. Maybe East Coasters have done something similar with the word nasty. That is going to be wildly off the mark. So nasty is an adjective. This sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually good. It means you're really good at something. So I was close. So an example would be, he says that he's nasty in the kitchen, but I know that his cooking is actually musty. What does musty mean? Pie. Pie? It almost seems like for a lot of these words, East Coasters have taken existing words and just given them a twist. Pie.
It's a dual meaning. At least for in the area of the East Coast that I'm from. If someone's referring to pie, they're usually referring to either something you bake and you eat, which is he's talking about a very general word. Or it is also a slang term used to refer to the genitalia of a female. Also, so I'm going to go right past that real quick because it's really what it is. That's what I've heard it used for. But also, in the southern part of the East Coast, pie refers to pizza. You want to go split a pie? Hey, we're going to get a pie. You want in? Should we get 2 pies?
Could mean a lot of things. I mean, it could be dirty. I've heard that connotation too. Suspect it's not that, because you wouldn't have put this in the list if that was the case. I don't know. I'm thinking a noun. Again, it could be clothing. Pie is a type of scarf. Wearing a pie around your neck and cream on your face. I've really created quite the image for a lot of you, haven't I? I don't know what pie is. Pie. A common East Coast slang for pizza, of course it is.
Yes, I was
There's
right.
the song, isn't there? You know,
yes.
When the moon hits my eye like a great pizza pie. Those aren't the lyrics, but it was close enough.
No, but you're close, buddy. Sorry, Lawrence.
Paunch. Is that anything to do with poncho? Again,
I would imagine.
Defaulting to clothes, but you can see why I would do that here. Paunch. I don't know why, but it sort of sounds like slang for steel. Like to punch something. I'm going with that.
I think it's a short, squat person. I think like somebody who's like shorter in stature and kind of beefy and stocky. They're paunch. I think. I don't know why I think that, but I do.
With
so I'm going
paunch means theft. It just means to steal something. That's my best guess. Paunch, noun, a small beer belly. Oh right, like a paunch. I think we'd say paunch. Paunch. Example, she has a bit of a paunch, but she's still cute.
I don't know where. Somewhere on the East Coast they call it a paunch. Up here that's called a pooch.
Not my words, the words
Pooch,
of this
P-O-O-C-H,
website.
like a dog. We call it
Slipping,
a pooch.
without a G. The standards of English are slipping. Could mean that. That's not my opinion.
You're messing
it's
up.
Just a joke. But I don't know what the word slipping would mean, other than, of course, I'm slipping over. Suspect it's not that again. I think this one means to get drunk. We were slipping at the bar. Sounds like slurping. So you can slurp a drink and also get drunk and therefore slip over because you're more clumsy and your cognitive abilities aren't what they were an hour before you started drinking. I've no idea what this is, so I'm going to take a look.
So I think slipping is one of 2 things. One, it could be if you're older in age, your brain starts slipping, you start forgetting things. That's what we say, like, oh man, his brain's slipping, he's forgetting things. But I don't think that's what this is. This is a slang term. Um, I think slipping is like, you know, I hired Billy as my bar back, and he did really good out the gate, but lately he's been slipping. Slipping means like slacking, not working up to performance, not at the top of your game. Um, you know, giving subpar performance basically.
Look, slipping. So apparently on the East Coast, slipping is a verb meaning when you're not focusing or paying enough attention to something. All right, next up, spocky. It's just a funny word. I can't not laugh at that. I hope it doesn't have a really serious definition. Well, I mean, it sounds like somebody who's kind of full of energy. They're quite spocky. They're quite spry. My cat is spocky. Gosh, I hope this doesn't mean something terrible. So spocky, I think, means energetic. Spocky is a noun. If you're in Boston, you may occasionally hear this term instead of sub or grinder. It's another type of sub. This is why.
I say no, but again, I told you. Boston, I believe this 100% spucky. I've never, ever, ever, ever friggin' heard this word in my life. Ever. I've been to Boston many times. I've never heard this word. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The locals in Boston have their own weird words.
How many there are. I just don't think, I couldn't eat something that's called a spocky. It just sounds like I would get poisoned. Tonic. I know this one, and again, it goes back to that dialect quiz, right? One of the things that came up in that dialect quiz was the sort of regional differences as to how Americans say pop or soda or Coke as they do in the South. And tonic was something that came up in the sort of Boston area, I think. Again, it just meant the same thing. It was just a way of saying fizzy.
I say no again. Sorry. Boston, maybe. I think this is more about halfway down the East Coast, but either way, yes, he's right. I think it's
drink, soda, pop. So let's see, a noun. You might hear older people in New England using this one, so it's possibly one that's on the way out. Tonic refers to just about any carbonated beverage, including seltzer water and soda. What's poppin?
What's going on?
Apparently the letter G is popping out of existence, unless you order a grinder. What's poppin'? I mean, it sounds pretty straightforward. I'm guessing it just means what's going on, what's up. It seems like there are 1,000 ways of asking that question between Britain and America. Maybe that's worth a video just on its own, but I'm guessing that's what it means. What's poppin'? An expression, an older slang expression that basically just means what's up. You can also use it to ask how someone is doing. Well, isn't that the purpose of what's up? Or have Americans genuinely been asking me this whole time what's above me? That'd be strange. And this is the last one.
This is a Massachusetts term. This is almost strictly Massachusetts, pretty much central Mass all the way out to Boston. Wicked means amazing, awesome. It's wicked good. Like this phone, I've had phones before. This phone is wicked good. This thing is amazing, If you ever seen the movie Good Will Hunting, he points at his friend, he's like, my boy's wicked smart. He's really smart, Wicked, really. Just means really, like emphasized.
Wicked, which is the name of a Wizard of Oz inspired musical, but also I think just like with the word nasty, in Boston and I think in the East Coast has the kind of opposite meaning to what we think of as something being wicked. I think it just means that it's good, right? It's a kind of adjective to mean that something is, wow, that's great, it's cool, it's amazing. Maybe I'm not being specific enough, but that's sort of how I've always interpreted it. That something's wicked good. Wicked good. Did I do that? That was terrible.
Doesn't mean
wasn't
good.
It? Wicked
it
bad.
Accentuates.
No, I've been misunderstanding this whole time. It's more of an intensifier that you'd sort of stick before a word. Right. Kind of like what we do with bloody. That's bloody great, right, in England. Wicked good it's just really good. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below if you use any of these words. And also, if there are other regions of the United States that you would like me to apply this series to. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS. And don't forget to share this video with your East Coast friends and subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. This channel is made possible by my patrons. If you would like to support Lost in the Pond and join me for those secret Friday afternoon live streams, you can do so at patreon.com/LostInThePond.
Make sure you check Lawrence out. He's got a phenomenal channel. I only watch some of his stuff because there's things that I've been waiting that I'm going to start reacting to. This is my first time doing it. Check this guy out. He's awesome. I honestly I don't know. He's got a great dry sense of humor. He's funny, awkwardly funny almost at times, I think. But I love it, absolutely. I could totally hang out with this dude completely. Listen, I'm gonna put a link to his channel. Please check him out. I enjoyed this a lot. I hope you guys did too. It was fun to play along with him. And even half of them I didn't even know. You know, some of these I use, obviously. Some of these are, you know, they use Wicked in advertising in Massachusetts all the time. You know, like, oh yeah, come on down to Dunkin's. The coffee's wicked good. That's an opinion I don't follow as well, but anyway. Hey, listen, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed Lawrence. I hope you enjoyed his Lost in the Pond channel, and I hope you enjoyed him and I going through guessing what these East Coast words mean. Guys, have a great time, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone watching. Have a great day. Have a great time. Take care of yourselves. Smile. It doesn't cost anything to smile and wave and just say hi to people. Be nice. Guys, take care of yourselves. Squirrel out.